Hi everyone, Julia McLeod here with a short video on how to deconstruct a necktie. Begin by removing the manufacturer's label. It's a little fiddly. Usually you can do it without cutting the necktie fabric. There we go. Set the label aside. And then look for a little bar tack at each end. The skinny end and the wide end typically have a small bar tack, and you're just going to cut that also carefully. There you go. And then you'll start to get an idea of how a tie is constructed. There is always a facing at each end, and there is always kind of a batting or an interfacing on the inside. Most neckties have a continuous thread that runs through them. Do you see how I've got a hold of it here? And it's also here on the skinny end. And all we need to do is to pull it all the way through. And once you've pulled that out, you just open it up, and there is your necktie fabric. Pull out the batting. This is usually a woven or a felted wool or polyester. Some people repurpose these things. I personally don't, so I'm going to toss that, but do what you like with it. And then you're left with just these facings at each end. Now, if it's like super special fabric and I really want to get as much as I can out of it, I might unpick these threads, but it's a lot faster just to head in there with your scissors and cut out the facing. Just trim all the way around. And you'll do the same, obviously, on the other end. It's rarely worth keeping this interfacing. It's usually made of polyester. Occasionally, it'll be made out of the same fabric as the necktie. Occasionally, it'll be silk, and you might want to keep it and use it in your quilt. Again, I'm going to toss mine. And here is the fabric. I'll just take an iron to it. And I think I've got about as much as I would get from a fat quarter. Sometimes with a well-loved necktie, you need to watch out. You'll find that this part that was outwards has been stained by the smoke or food or whatever. You might find that this folded edge here is a little bit frayed. Hold it up to the light and you should be able to see. So you may need to cut around that. This area here where the knot was is very often also a little bit oily. The skinny end invariably hasn't had that much wear, and so especially if you're making a quilt that uses strips, you've got a nice amount of fabric to use there. So there it is, how to deconstruct a necktie. Happy sewing!